The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Friday. I'm joking. Jared. I'm joking. Hey, it's Monday, the 4th day of October, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Linda's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with the Michaela Ian, Sherry Vanderpool, and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. How are you both doing this fine, lovely Monday?
Listen, there's no one in my house. Not a soul. Also, I got my nails done yesterday, so I'm back in my nails club. So I'm really, really happy about that. I haven't had my nails done in months.
She seems extra happy over there, Sherry.
There's no one in my house.
Extra. Look at her, all bright and just everything. You good, Kales. I mean, I'm always in this house by myself most times, so that's.
I wish.
Well, I mean,
but yeah.
go ahead, Sherry.
But I was gonna say it's Monday, so I'm just like, But you know, it's gonna be a good week. And I just love how all of our shirts are just in my scarf. Like, it's just like we pulled it all together and I was like, bam.
It's working. It's working. I did just have on a wonderful little necklace and then it just fell off right before we started. So, but it's okay.
I'm not going to tell you the truth about. I'm not going to tell you the truth about my shirt. We'll leave that for later. But
it's not really white. It's pink.
It's not really white. It's actually blue. But we're having some technical difficulties this morning, folks. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one to begin the week. As some of you may know, Stephen Corbishley resigned as commissioner of the Bermuda Police Service. So we'll be discussing whether or not his replacement should be a Bermudian. The Daily Play is oh yeah. Get the fans out, AC, keep it going. The Daily Play is a who said it. So the ladies will be guessing a famous quote. Woo! And certain people like to brag about how they like 5 for 5.
But how I was 4 out of 5 last week and the week before. That's what we want to talk about.
But you know what?
And this is Michaela's, because I'm never here on a Monday. So I mean, Michaela, I'm just here to support you.
I mean, if you get it, you add to my overall. So there we go.
Exactly.
You know what, though? I'm going to start cheering you on. You know why? Because Jackie, during Good Day Bermuda, they do joke time with Jackie. And Jackie reads these jokes and Terry tries to guess what they are. Mm-hmm. And when Terry gets it right, Jackie is like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, damn, like everybody could use a cheerleader like that. But I mean, Jackie's excited. Like, I want to see Jackie in action. When one of her kids play tennis and they got the ball over the net, I'm like, she must go so loud. You must hear her in Duckyard from the tennis stadium. But I'm going to start giving that kind of excitement for Kales when she gets it right, folks. All right.
I think that is warranted because I do an excellent job.
Okay.
You got to do. We're going to call it the Phil. Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah. Phil's still shocked to this day that she got that right. He's still shocked. But let's get to today's discussion. Don't forget, we'll be talking about the police commissioner. Obviously, we all should know by now the resignation of Mr. Corbishley. And we'll be discussing whether or not the audience believes that a Bermudian should fulfill the post. But before we get to that, the Daily Focus, our discussion this morning is rather interesting. So about 2 weeks ago, right, R. Kelly was convicted of multiple crimes involving sexual acts towards young women, included rape. Did they, Michaela?
Trafficking,
sex trafficking,
racketeering, etc.
All that stuff, right? And so we had a little conversation amongst ourselves, and someone had shared a post with me, and we started discussing it in our chat group. And then I asked the question about Jacure. For those who don't know who Jacure is a reggae singer. He is a well-known reggae singer, and pretty much since 2006 has had as many reggae hits as any other artist, right? He's been to Bermuda on tour multiple times since he's been released from prison. What did he go prison for? Sherry, please give the audience a little feel or understanding of what he went to prison for.
I didn't have it pulled right up yet.
My apologies.
That's okay. But he went to prison for rape, basically, at the end of the day.
Rape at gunpoint.
At gunpoint.
Yeah.
And he was sentenced to 13, 15 years, something like that in the late 90s, correct?
Something like that. Yes, okay. 1998.
1998. Okay. So Jacure. Yes. Go ahead, Sherry.
Yeah, 13 years in prison, convicted of rape. He served 7 before he was released in 2007.
Okay. So basically, for me, those who know, I program radio stations, I do a lot with music. No one had to tell me to stop playing R. Kelly's music, not one person. No. I just felt morally it was not right to do based on what he was going through, right? He was not convicted. It was just something that I felt within me that was not right. I cannot in no way promote this as a person with in good conscience, right? However, I'm hypocritical in that sense. I'm hypocritical in that sense because Jacure is a convicted rapist. He hasn't had an appeal that's overturned his conviction, so he's a convicted rapist. But for some reason, like others, Jacure's music still blasting all over the place. So the question is, why is it we treat Jacure differently from R. Kelly? Should Jacure receive the same treatment as R. Kelly? Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying we should play R. Kelly's music because we play Jacure's. Do not be silly with me this morning.
No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything defending R. Kelly. Don't do it. Don't do it.
But the question is, should Jacure receive the same treatment as R. Kelly? Now, again, just restate what Jacure is guilty of, please, Sherry, for anyone who's tuning in late.
He is guilty of raping someone, as Michaela said, at gunpoint, and he got 13 years. So he was found guilty in a court of law amongst his peers. Correct?
Correct.
Audience, I know, and this is real. In our conversation, some people did not know this about Jacure. A lot of people don't know this about Jacure. They just play this music. That girl. I mean, that's not really how he sounds, but
I was like, what is that? I did defend you last week, but whoa.
So I was trying. Okay.
I mean, you could have turned it to me, and I.
Okay, sorry. I shouldn't have been singing the song anyway. But let's get to the answer. Like, what should he receive the same treatment? What you think, Kil?
This is so difficult for me because I was a massive Jacure fan. I first heard of Jacure back in 2005. I think, what's the song on Drop Leaf that everybody sings? When, that song. Can't remember what it's called right now. Anyways, so I was a massive Jacure fan. And back then, I think I was 19. And the story that was going around was Jacure was convicted of rape. The girl lied. It was a whole big setup. It was to set him up because he was about to become a big famous reggae artist. And I'm ashamed that however many years later now, that was the narrative that I stuck to until I decided to do some research over the weekend. And then I realized, no, this wasn't a case of someone lying and setting him up and whatever. No, this happened. He did this. So I felt very ashamed because I love Jacure's music. He has a song that has my name in it. I've met Jacure. I remember I was a reporter and I was at the airport when he came to Bermuda for the first time back in 2008. It was a huge deal, So I'm very conflicted. It's very conflicting to me. However, I cannot, if I can sit here and not separate R. Kelly, the man, from R. Kelly, the musical genius, how can I sit here and say I'm gonna separate Jacure, the man, from Jacure, the music? I can't in good conscience, right? And it sucks. It sucks. I hate it.
You seem a little bit conflicted.
I'm very conflicted.
Yeah, sure.
And see, I'm the opposite. I loved R. Kelly. 12 Play was one of I loved his CDs. Reggae is something that I love, but I'll be honest, I don't know all the artists' names to be able to have such feeling behind it. But if we're going to look at what the basis is of this all, they both were convicted of crimes that involved minors, or they convicted of violence. And if we're going to stand on that principle alone, then no, we shouldn't listen to the music. We shouldn't buy into them, their story, or whatever they have going on, because at the end of the day, they were found guilty in a court of law. And that's what most things are stood on, is what you was found, that they either pled guilty or were found guilty. And if they were found guilty, then there was enough evidence. So it's not hard for me not to listen to R. Kelly, but I mean, I do miss some of his music, or miss listening to it. You know what I mean? But I'll be honest, I know in Bermuda, they still play it on the radio.
I was at the nail salon yesterday and R. Kelly came up in the playlist. R. Kelly, Celine Dion. And I immediately started singing the Celine Dion part before I realized what I was singing. And then I heard R. Kelly come in. I was like, wait a second, it's 2021. Why is this being played? Stop. I immediately got filled with rage.
Michaela, let me just say, it's interesting you said that song, because look, Earth Song is my favorite Michael Jackson song, right? So I'm different like that when it comes to music taste. But I'm Your Angel with Celine Dion is actually my favorite R. Kelly song.
That is a song.
And when people start canceling his music, and when she distanced herself, saying that she will no longer perform that song when she was doing her residency, I was like, man, that's a good song. But let's go to the audience. A lot's going on in the audience.
I'm
Steve
interested.
Lawrence and Carla John Sherry.
Jacure was just arrested for stabbing a promoter in Amsterdam. Say it ain't so. I don't know, Jaws music, does it glorify rape or weapons? Now, see,
no,
Michaela,
Carla,
what is that?
No, Jacure is he's a crooner. It's all love music. All of it.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
Edna said, I did not know that. We also have Shayna Smith. Yes, we should, although I'm just hearing about Jacure's conviction this morning. We also have Malai Robinson saying, definitely just learning about Jacure. My views are now different after learning this, just like R. Kelly. So it's interesting. A lot of people didn't know. But I want to go to Bertie Birch's comment here, because she's saying, when we think of the artists that we have been convicted of offenses, there are plenty. It's a personal choice, and that should be the only way it should be kept. And then let's go to Nachika Trot. She also says, I thought Michaela's face was frozen just now. She was just messed up. Let me read this one, and then you can respond to that comment, Kales. Nachika Trot says, also, what about Harvey Weinstein? Should we stop watching the movies he produced? Kales,
yes, we should, Nachika. Yes, we should. We should also not watch any Woody Allen films. Absolutely not. You cannot separate the artist from the music. Okay, there's a difference between someone being convicted for drugs or murder. I mean, those are bad things, obviously, but I'm sorry, R. Kelly peed on a 13-year-old girl. He trafficked dozens of women, held them captive in his home, spread STDs to them. You're okay with listening to his music? That's wild. Like, that's wild. I think the thing with Jacure, and this is why it's surprising to so many people, is this happened back in 1998. He was not a household name in 1998. So when his music started becoming a household music, and he started becoming a household name in 2005, Reflections had come out. So there was this whole story about my rehabilitation in prison, behind these prison walls, doing my paces, doing my time, reflecting on the situation. So the story that we were sold was, this man served time in prison, but he's changed, he's rehabilitated. This is now who he is. So it's different. And I think when he came out, this was years ago now, I don't think that social media wasn't as prevalent, wasn't as popular. No one is jumping on Google to get an answer in 2 seconds, whereas what we do now. So we believe the narrative of, you know, this man who probably went away for selling weed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the answer or the question to that, though, Michaela, is that a lot of artists have done very bad things. For me, I'm not gonna, if we can't separate it all, I don't think, in the sense of, if someone murdered somebody, should they still be in the same category? Oh, it's wrong. It's convicted. They hurt somebody. They killed somebody. But do we still listen to their music? Yes, we do. Bill Cosby stuff is overturned. He's out. Are they going to put his statue back up? Are they going to do all of these other things that they took from him because it's his appeal? So it just comes down to choice and what you feel is the best for you. You know, some people are not going to stop listening to Jacure. The same people that, gosh, I mean, T.I. had drug charges, gun charges, all of this. He's alleged to have had a threesome in a dungeon. It's a lot of mess. It's a lot of personal choice on what you decide that you want to listen to or bring into your boundaries.
I mean, I just feel as though when we're talking about crimes against women and crimes against children, those are like probably the worst in terms of what society deems, you know. Someone kills someone, yes, it sucks, it's awful, you know what I mean? However, when we talk about violent rapes and sex assaults on children, I feel like that's just different. I feel like society deems those different. And that's why, no, I will not watch any more Harvey Weinstein movies. No, I will not watch any Woody Allen movies. No, I will not listen to any R. Kelly music. Unfortunately, no, I will no longer be able to listen to Jacure music because of what I know now.
And not just what you know, but how you feel about what you
feel.
But let's go to the comments. Kales, take the first three. Terry.
Sure. He also does conscious reggae, so he does speak about positive vibes. Yeah, his music is excellent. I don't watch Mel Gibson films either. Yeah, that's another one.
What's his story?
It's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot.
that's another show. Bobby Singh, Kales.
See, this is why most of the music I listen to, the artist is dead or as old as God. LOL. Yeah.
Laverne Amanda Kelly for you, Sherry.
Many of us don't understand that when we support the artists, we are actually funding their lifestyle. We just choose not to see the connections.
Yeah, Nachika Trot says we need a listen of all the artists so we can make informed decisions. It's not even just listening to the artist; it's about knowing the artist that you're listening to. I think
she means a list.
Oh, list. Okay.
I think she means a list. It's interesting now that we're having this Jacure conversation, though, because I wouldn't say Jacure has been canceled, but he's been on a decline for at least probably since he separated from his ex-wife now. He's been on like a downward spiral. And so for me, I can't step back into, you know, my late teens, early 20s when his music was incredible. I have to completely step away and be like, no, this guy's an a-hole. He raped a woman at gunpoint. So yeah, you love these songs, but he's an a-hole, a violent criminal. So yeah, no.
Let's go one more comment before we go to bring Leanna into the conversation. Michelle, White, Michaela.
If these artists' music, movies, or whatever are played, maybe their portion of the funds should be given to appropriate charity. Unfortunately, there are many people involved in the entertainment who will not get their share because of what an artist was convicted of. But Michelle, they don't admit their guilt. So they're not giving away money. Harvey Weinstein to this day denies everything that he did. R. Kelly denies everything that he did. Jacquier has never publicly admitted to what he did, nor has he apologized to his victim.
Yeah, Carla John.
And it also just feeds into their psyche of what they do. Let me pay for it, or the charity of portions. It just continues to feed
exactly
what it is that they're doing. So no, I don't agree with that.
Sure, go ahead.
Another thing we tend to ignore is disgusting, racist, and misogynistic lyrics. Yeah.
Well, again. And I want to take this to race, because I think Black people tend to understand things a bit better when race is there. And, yes, there's a lot of musicians, our favorite movies, that involve people with some harsh convictions. And the easiest way I can get people to understand is, well, let's say it was based on race. Let's say they murdered 4 little Black girls or something. I mean, that would make you feel a bit different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to say it that way.
I mean,
we are out of time, but I just want to
just 2 seconds. Go ahead.
Well, take this comment and finish it.
Okay. Thanks, Michaela. I have to strike Jacquier from my music stream now. Yes, he should receive the same treatment as R. Kelly. I don't listen to him as a result. I don't listen to him either as a result. I think the difference here is that when people commit drug offenses, murders, etc., society deems that different, because sexual offenses, there's some psychology there. And a lot of these people don't actually want to be rehabilitated. They don't do the programs. So I think it's a bit different, because you're more likely to reoffend. Just because you got convicted once doesn't mean you only did it once.
Alrighty, let's bring, and I get that. Let's bring Leanna into the conversation. I want to hear Lee's perspective on this. She always comes with these well-thought, intellectual thoughts on things like this. Not putting on the spot, folks, but it's a conversation. I'm the only guy here, right? The ladies will obviously see it very differently. And so let's bring Lee in. Hopefully she's had a good, restful weekend. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
Oh, no pressure there. Good morning.
Not while I'm drinking.
Well thought out. I don't think this morning was going to be too well thought out on this one, because like Sherry, I'm a little bit in the middle when it comes to the music. For me, it's still a little difficult to separate. I do enjoy R. Kelly's music. However, understanding that, he was possibly or was singing these songs about young girls.
Yes.
It's like, but he's still a goat. Like, you know what I mean? Lyrically, like, and
I can.
Yes.
I know.
From a music standpoint, if he committed no crime, he'd probably be looked at as the greatest R&B artist of all time.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So what you're saying is he is a GOAT when it comes to music. However, that always tarnished now because of what he's done. I think that's what Leanna's saying.
I think that's what I'm trying to say.
I think it's because when we think of these lyrics that we think are incredible, genius musically, he's singing about little girls. So like for me,
Right.
So
it's hard now.
And the crooner is thinking, and the crooner is a rapist. I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah.
Guys, we have to get to the news break. We have another hot conversation that we need to leave time for about the next Bermudian commissioner. Boy, oh boy. And Lee, no pressure on you while you're doing your news break. I want your opinion on that as you come out of your news break too.
Oh, wow.
Pressure. On the spot all morning. And I was leaving that story. I was actually leaving that story to talk to you guys. So I didn't put it in the cast knowing that we're going to discuss it. So yeah, I don't mind.
I see you got your people's green on your neck. Look good on you.
Representing.
All right, yeah. Over to you, Lee.
Thanks, Jamal, Michaela, and Sherry. Happy Monday to everyone that's tuned in with us this morning. I hope everyone had a great weekend and is having a great start to their day. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now, here's what took place over the weekend. Sadly, the death toll from COVID-19 climbed to 75 after 3 more coronavirus-related deaths were announced. Now, there were 92 new positive cases found in more than 4,000 test results that came back to health officials with a positivity rate of 2.2%. The number of people in hospital also dropped down from 61 to 58, but there were 12 patients in the intensive care, an increase of 1. We here at the Daily Hour I'm so sorry. We here at the Daily Hour, we extend our sincerest condolences to the friends and family of those loved ones. In other news, electricity bills in Bermuda are set to rise this month, with Belco blaming significantly increased costs for fuel for the hike in prices. Now, residential customers using 600 kilowatts per month will see a rise by $18.75. Now, Belco spokesperson said it was still well below the peak of July 2012, when the fuel adjustment rate was set at $20.05. According to Michelle Lehman, Managing Director of Transmission, Distribution, and Retail, the company said that the substantial increase would continue until further notice due to a steady rise in oil prices. The company said it does work to take advantage of favorable market prices, with 100% of any opportunist savings or reductions in fuel costs being passed on to customers, but customers were impacted by the changing cost of fuel. Meanwhile, 2 landmarks are set to be renamed in honor of Bermuda's first Olympic gold medal winner. The first is the island's National Sports Center Southfield Stadium, which is set to be renamed the Flora Duffy Stadium in tribute to the triathlete. Now, the Ministry of Public Works has announced it intends to rename Corkscrew Hill in Devonshire, which was featured in the World Triathlon Series events in Bermuda, Flora Duffy Hill. The name change, in accordance with the Public Lands Act 1984, will be posted in the official Gazette today. Now, anyone who wished to object to the proposal should submit in writing to the Ministry of Public Works by November 4th. And Dr. Freddie Evans was voted in as president of the Bermuda National Athletics Association on Thursday night, succeeding Donna Rayner, who stood down after 12 years at the helm. Dr. Evans, who previously served as the general secretary of the BNAA, ran unopposed for the post. Now, in his outreach to the BNAA affiliates, Dr. Evans introduced a theme of growing together for athletic excellence. He insists that this is not a slogan, but the way he expects to lead inclusivity. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 80 degrees and a low near 72. Today, we'll see a generally sunny start to the day. A light northerly breeze will continue to trend of slightly cooler temperatures and lower humidity levels. But by Tuesday, a trough near the high's western edge will meander nearby, bringing increases to cloud cover and the chance for wet weather, while the wind taps easterly. Now, that's all for our Daily Hour news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. But before we go, here's a little helpful tip from your favorite community pharmacist. Now, when treating fever or aches and pains, the best over-the-counter treatment is combining ibuprofen like Advil or acetaminophen like Tylenol. Since one is metabolized by the kidney and one by the liver, it is safe to take both simultaneously. You can always talk to your trusted People's Pharmacist about maximum dosage. Now let's head back to Jamal, Michaela, and Sherry in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
All right, thanks so much for that, Lee. Lee, real quickly before you go, do you believe the next commissioner of police should be a Bermudian?
Just like that, huh?
Great.
If qualified, yes. I do believe that Bermudians that are qualified for the job should always be given a fair chance for the position, hands down.
Lee gave her opinion first, folks. You heard it here. Leanna Lambert. Lee, thank you so much.
You're so welcome, you guys.
It seems like you're so good at being put on the spot. I just keep wanting to do it.
I see that. Guys, help me out here. Where's my, female empowerment? Tell him stop doing this.
It's just ridiculous. It's bored or something. I don't know.
It must be. I don't know what.
Yeah, he's just in a rail.
Wow. Like,
He must have had a good run this morning. He had good time or something like that. He's not grumpy Jamal today. Grumpy uncle, his teacher uncle today.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Go ahead, gang up on me. Lee, have a wonderful day. So,
You as
I'm
well. I will
Yeah.
be tuning in for this conversation. Can't wait.
check you in a bit. All righty, Leanna Lambert, folks. We're going to come right back. Do not go anywhere. This is a hot one, folks. Should the next commissioner of police be Bermudian? Yeah. Don't go nowhere.
Nuco is a company impressively dedicated to the production of coconut concoctions. Their motto is coconuts for life, and however that resonates, it seems to have done the trick for vegan snack lovers. Nuco uses 3 ingredients in their wraps: pure organic and GMO-free coconut meat, coconut water, and unrefined virgin coconut oil. Nuco extols them as the all-natural alternative to bread and tortillas. This month we're featuring gluten-free Nuco organic coconut wraps in a 5-pack. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandy Town Field. Number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Michaela Ian, Sherry Vanderpool, Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. It's time for the question, folks. Let's just get right to it. Should the next commissioner of police, the Bermuda Police Service, be a Bermudian? First, before we get into it, Kales, can you share some of the responses we got on Instagram, if you don't mind, please?
Yes, I happily can. All right. So same question.
Mm-hmm.
From Bermuda, best person for the job.
Mm-hmm.
If fully qualified, yes.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to succession planning?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Not a Bermudian needs someone that can be objective. Yes. Yes, of course. Bermudian, a Bermudian. Yes, someone who is also a stakeholder in what happens in the community. The best qualified person who was mentored for the position who is Bermudian.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are qualified and capable. Yes, why not? Those are all the comments.
And that objective one. Sherry, go ahead. I see you. You're chomping at the bit.
So, I do believe the next commissioner should be Bermudian. Be wonderful if it's a woman. I believe Naima Aswad is not too far behind it. But yeah, they need to be objective. And I would believe that if they, as someone said, mentoring and a succession plan, then the slide into the position shouldn't be one of concern, correct? You know, why not have a Bermudian? Why not have somebody who has lived here, part of our culture, and is embracing everything and possibly know how different systems and cultures and different things work on our island? You know, not taking nothing from Corbishley at all. I thought he was a cool person. I don't know the ins and outs of the political stuff that had going on, but he seemed to be trying to, you know, be involved with the community from what I can tell. It would be nice for it to be a Bermudian. You know, what is wrong with a Bermudian being in that position? Why couldn't they be objective? If they've been in the police force this long, they've obviously been objective to some degree, correct? So why couldn't they be that at the top of the highest level that they can go? So yeah, they should be a Bermudian.
Oh boy.
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay. I am just tired of people trying to act like Bermudians can't do top jobs. I'm over it. I am over it. I saw it in various places that I've worked, namely America's Cup. I am over it. Okay. So miss me with Bermudians can't be objective. Yes, we can. Cut it out. There are many Bermudians who have worked for the police for decades who are ready. I mean, obviously, I don't know all the ins and outs. However, if there is someone who is qualified and they can do the job, I don't see the need to bring someone in. Let's not act like we haven't had Bermudian commissioners. Michael De Silva was the police commissioner. George Jackson was the police commissioner. I mean, I think he considers himself
married Bermudian. Yeah,
he's married to Bermudian. He's been here for decades, so he's Bermudian. So it's not as though those are the only two that I can recall before
Jonathan Smith.
Jonathan Smith. Yes, forgot about him. Again, 3 Bermudians. So let's not pretend that a Bermudian cannot do the job when in recent memory there have been 3 before Corbishley. So I don't want to hear this. We need to bring someone in who's objective. I just don't want to hear it when it comes to policing, especially when you're talking about bringing in a white man from the UK. The policing style is wildly different. It's very, very different. So I think that if we have someone qualified who already knows the culture, who already knows the style, all of that, why not? We can be objective.
So, we had our meeting, monthly meeting last night, folks. I'm going to share something. And I spoke about how sometimes, I just have to go on the other side.
Which is fine.
And
go on, Jamal. Go on.
So, folks, I'm going to say that having been in, it's hard for me to do this, but having been in tourism, right? And feeling like Bermudians just never get a shot at the top jobs. We see a Bermudian there now, right? And here's what I'm going to compare it to, as I compared when Charles Jeffers II was hired as the CEO of the Bermuda Tourism Authority. I said, the unfortunate thing about his appointment, if there is one, it reminds me of black coaches in the NBA, the NFL. They only get opportunities when teams are in the lottery. What do I mean by that? They're not getting opportunities to coach the great teams. They're getting opportunities to coach the poor teams. And when they coach the poor teams, by the time they start building, they're fired and you bring in a Steve Kerr, i.e. Mark Jackson. Yeah, I said it. Now, the comparison to Mr. Jeffers was the fact that when he finally got the job, where are we right now? In a pandemic, recession, and ain't nobody traveling. So it's almost impossible to compare the job that he's doing with others. Why do I say this, folks? Sometimes we have to be careful what we ask for when we ask for it. Because if a Bermudian were to come into this position right now, the scrutiny based on the situation, like right now, we're dealing with so much from a law perspective that I feel like they'll get an unfair shot. And I feel honestly as if the tables will turn against them so fast.
Well, yeah.
And so so I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a Bermudian from that. What I'm saying is that what we need to do is what I said with Charles Jeffers II. Understand that we're in a pandemic. Understand that this is one of the toughest times we will ever face. And we need to support these people when they get in these positions. It's all good saying we want a Bermudian, but when we get these Bermudians, we need to do our jobs as the citizens of the country, the people, to support them. I am sick and tired of Bermudians getting opportunities, and then soon as they get these opportunities, we tear them down. We can't do that. No, to answer the question, I don't think I did like you guys. Should a Bermudian get the job? I'll say this much. What I didn't like about some of the comments, and I think somebody might have said in the audience, if they're qualified, why is it if a Bermudian's qualified? Why don't we say if a non-Bermudian's qualified? You got what I'm saying? It seems like, a Bermudian should get it if they're qualified. No. Why does obviously we want a qualified person. No, I'm going to use Bill Henberry before I turn it back over to you guys.
Right.
Bill Henberry was the first CEO of the Bermuda Tourism Authority. You could not find me criticizing Mr. Henberry anywhere except one time where he went public and he said that it was on Burn News one day he bragged about 90-something% of the staff being Bermudian, which irritated the life out of me. That's like the Bermuda Police Service, Stephen Corbishley saying 90% of our officers are Bermudian. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but who are the top positions held by?
Yeah.
That's my issue. So but I use Mr. Hembury because at the end of the day, folks, we did not have a Bermudian, so we thought, right, that had experience leading a destination marketing organization. So I didn't have a problem with him coming in and possibly, as Nachika Trott said, right, succession planning. That didn't occur. Yeah. And then Kevin Dallas was brought in, right? If there's a non-Bermudian that comes into this position, there should be questions, a lot of questions. And I think Bermudians are well within their rights to ask the question, what does a Naima, Superintendent Naima Aswad, have to do? What does a Deputy Commissioner, Darren Simons, have to do? What does an Assistant Commissioner of Police, Antoine Daniels, have to do? What does an Assistant Commissioner of Police, Martin Weeks, have to do?
Yeah. It's just Bermudian. We have this weird thing, and I hate it. It's like, okay, so we're this rock in the middle of the Atlantic, and we need to be saved. The foreigner needs to come in to fix up the island, and usually it's in the form of a white savior. And that narrative infuriates me to no end. I totally get your point about how we hold our own people to higher esteem than we do foreigners. And that's not right. It's not right at all. And I'm not saying that the position should not go to a non-Bermudian. I just think the best person for the job, and I think we have excellent people here in Bermuda who've obviously done a good job as they've risen up their ranks. But I just don't like I feel like Corbishley was brought in and it was like this whole, he needs to come in and save the island type vibe. And I don't know how familiar you are with him on Facebook, but he went on Facebook, he added everybody, being friends with everybody on Facebook. So it was like this whole, I'm here to on the white horse, I'm here to fix it all, So I don't like that vibe. And if we can not do that again, I think that would probably be good.
Sure.
But that's been the trend for years. It's been the trend for years. We look to the US as, we want to definitely be like them, but we're not, and we can't. We definitely bring in programs from the US all the time to make it Bermudian, but we are not the US. We're not the UK. We are Bermuda. And if you do not have homegrown people at the helm of these different organizations who are qualified, who you have had all of these courses in government, all of these courses all over, and you take all of them and you get these certificates, stand for what? For what? To sit here then train the next person that has been brought in because they have had a better situation. It's not right. And we should be at the top of, Bermudians should be at the top of many organizations that have to do directly with Bermudians, i.e. the police, i.e. some other places.
Yeah, it was similar with the whole Commissioner of Education situation, right? Very similar.
What was the guy? He lasted not long.
No.
That was in 2015 or something.
Yeah. I can't remember all the details. I just remember there was a whole big thing about it.
We have a lot of comments. Let's get to it. Kenton Trott, who is also a police officer, he says yes. Well, let me add, because it is public, it's on Twitter. Kenton Trott on Twitter said the current senior command of the police are very capable of taking over. The acting commissioner, acting deputy commissioner, and 2 assistant commissioners are all qualified, experienced, and able to guide the BPS. We need to trust our people to lead us. Shelley Eve Michaela.
No, Bermudians don't get the respect, and they are they are too familiar, especially if they are Black. I worked customs, immigration, and prisons for 28 years, and it did not work unless it is a woman.
Interesting. But this goes back to my point about, folks, we want a Bermudian, we have to trust them to do the job. We have to respect them. And like we have to support them. Like this is a great point. Thank you for that. Teresa and Marie says, ideally, yes, but not necessarily. Natalie and Carla, Sherry.
I don't think so. As a Bermudian, they are related to so many people here. Then it's called a conflict of interest, and you assign somebody else to work the situation. I've been in numerous situations where I know a person. I went to high school with somebody, and I had to pass it on to another person. My background is social work, so then you pass it on to another social worker to get the work done. What people tend to not do is separate personal from business. Separate it.
Yeah, sure.
I hate when people use the term if they are qualified or objectives, as if a Bermudian wouldn't be.
Yeah, that is bothersome.
Yeah.
Sam Cat plays kills.
No, while I agree to a Bermudian being in succession for a top spot, unfortunately, there is too much corruption that exists that many do not know about within the ranks, and that will lead to more problems trickling down. Interesting.
I get that. I completely get that. And I think sometimes having someone from the outside is great. Look, I have absolutely nothing against any non-Bermudian working in Bermuda. I've made that clear. And that's why, again, Bill Hembury, there was never an issue with me and Bill Hembury. Like, I understood why they brought Mr. Hembury in, right? However, when we say things like this, just think of what Michaela just mentioned involving that the guy that they brought in as Commissioner of Education. He had all types of red marks on his resume, as if we didn't do our research in hiring him. My point is, corruption isn't a Bermudian thing, folks.
Nope.
That's it. Nachiko Trot says, what happened to succession planning? This should not even be a topic of conversation. Fill the post with the most qualified Bermudian. Well, let's talk about succession planning. Do they do this everywhere? Like, let's say in New York City, chief of police, is it succession planning, or would they bring somebody in from another place? I mean, or is this just something that Bermudians believe is right? Like, what does succession planning look like? Like, is it?
Well, when you talk about when you talk about government, I'm sorry, you have that built in regards to what is it that they do every year? I forget the name. I hated doing it. You know what it is, Jamal.
The annual review.
No. The annual review as a worker. And part of that, you indicate that you want to, possibly move to a different department, do all of these different things. What is done with all of that paperwork? Is anybody reading it? I may say I want to be the commissioner of the police, and these are the things that I want to do. You have to do that every year. So why aren't those being utilized in government if that is some of the things that people want to do? Somebody knows the word I'm trying to say. Put it in the comments. Somebody knows. I can't remember what
Janet Maynard Kills.
If Bermudians are good enough to hold the deputy and assistant commissioner post, why not the top post? Should be a Bermudian. We have Bermudians before in the top post and also a spouse of a Bermudian.
Yes, Penny Bean was police commissioner, but we were literally just talking about recent ones. I
think there's this myth that you bring someone in and they're automatically going to be better. And we've all worked with people who've been brought in who are not better, who cannot do what they say that they can do, and whose resume is a joke. So let's be real.
Rick Olson actually makes a great point. Who and how we choose our commissioners is a better question. Well, no, actually. That's part of a larger conversation there. That's part of a larger conversation, because it does come down to Black girl magic, as you all call it. The first woman and Black governor. And it will be her say. Now, I want to go back to Superintendent Naima Aswad. I hope that she's not picked just because she's a woman. I think that would be degrading in itself. I think that if she's picked, it should come down to merit. And so, having a Black woman governor, and having the first Black woman commissioner, I hope it would be done in the best interest of the organization and what they feel they're trying to achieve, rather than it just being a woman. Now people will say, well, that should be the same of the position anyway, Bermudian or not. And I don't disagree, but here's my challenge. Guy said to me one day, I don't think it should be about choosing a Bermudian, I think it should be the best person for the job. And I said, well, what has the best person for the job traditionally looked like? And he said, I see your point. And that was the end of the discussion. These conversations need to be had, folks, not because we want to debate and argue about every and anything, but at the end of the day, there are people that are within our community that help grow in our community. And let's just be honest, being a police officer in Bermuda is not an easy task.
No.
It's a small community. It's not an easy task. Small community, they either love you or extremely hate you. So these people risk their social lives to provide a service that isn't, desired by many. So why are they good enough to provide the service at the lower levels, but they're not good enough to take the top job and improve it? No, that said, Michaela mentioned Stephen Corbishley, Commissioner Corbishley, on social media. I think many of those deputy and assistant commissioner would do well to engage people more on social media. I know Assistant Commissioner of Police Martin Weeks does it on Twitter. You have to go where the people are. Mm-hmm. So I would say if you're looking at that top job, like Darren Simons doesn't come across as for me, I don't know him, never met him, but he doesn't come across as a like, hey, what's up? How you doing kind of person to me. Like friendly. Yeah.
Right? I don't even know who he is. I need to look that up.
You know what I'm saying? So there are certain things that when I look at the people in those top positions, I don't want Jocelyn Brand. I want a person that probably actually has a personality similar to Corbishley, that's outgoing, that's going to meet people where they are, not just sit behind a desk or stay in your uniform and whatnot. So a lot of questions to get through. Let's go bottom up. Let's start with Sheldon Eugene Fox Sherry.
It was acting commissioners. His predecessor was a lady.
What?
I don't know what that's in response to.
The audience, yeah. Kenton Trott, Michaela.
Exactly. Everyone keeps talking about corruption in the police. However, this is anecdotally spoken about. Yes, there's corruption everywhere in Bermuda. However, some comments make it seem like all of us are corrupt when we aren't. It's a good point.
Rosalind, famous Michaela.
Just came back from another island, a colonial territory, and for the first time I have seen in my life, they have recently brought in police from the colonial power. And for the first time on that island, I have seen the police using heavy-handed techniques.
Troy Glasgow, Sherry.
Be wary of throwing the corruption word around. What is corruption that everyone keeps anecdotally throwing around?
I agree. It's unfair to Bermudians, acting as if is this Bermudian thing. Like it's unfair. Performance appraisal, everyone's saying for you.
Thank you. I was about to go into another chat and be like, what is it? Thank you, Shana.
Let's go to a few more comments before we take a break. Michaela, Sheldon Eugene Fox II.
Hiring outside is sometimes counterproductive. It takes too long to get them acclimated, and by the time they figure things out, it's time to leave. Yeah, I could see that.
Sherry.
There are conflicts of interest in small community. We need to rise above using that as an excuse. We need to hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Monica Dunson says Dr. Heatherly Heatley, I think it was the former commissioner of education. That's the one.
Oh, yes.
Michaela, Sonia Clark.
Because your perspective is right. The issue is we Bermudians need to self-check, support, and tolerate during this time. It definitely should be a Bermudian. We need to make it work.
Yeah. And Robert Butterfield says Bermudians are extremely capable of running the BPS. We should identify those that are capable and train them for that job. We should never look overseas for the commissioner post. Well, I'm interested to know why they looked overseas. Being as we had a Bermudian commissioner prior to Mr. Corbishley, why did they look overseas anyway? Terry K says, saying, quote, if the Bermudian is qualified, end quote, feeds the narrative that we need those on the outside to fix our issues. And let's wrap it up there. Sean Smith, we will end up with you. Jamal, all the people you named have had the training to take over the top job. And I don't know that, but I'm just saying, and thank you for that, Sean. Look, we've got to give one another a chance.
Yeah.
We've got to believe in one another. We can't keep thinking negative when it comes to each other. I believe in Bermudians. I believe that we are capable of doing great things, but we've got to support one another. We've got to help one another. Like we can't be envious of the person who gets the job and side with the people who don't.
Yeah.
Bermudians are not corrupt. We're not bad people. One of the problems that I have is when there are some people that come in from overseas and they get certain people in their ears as if Bermudians are the enemy of them because they're not from Bermuda. No, we're not bad people. But we just want a chance to do what we believe we can do to help our country. Let's wrap it up with Sam Cat Plays saying, I would like to see Antoine Daniels in the position. And I mean, this is my bias because I consider him a close friend and brother. But when I think of the people I mentioned, he's probably the most relatable of them all. Let's be honest. He's probably the most relatable in the community and everyone knows him. So let's take a quick break. We'll wrap it up. Do not go anywhere, folks, because you know how this works. And Cher is in the house today. It's about to get interesting. Do not go anywhere.
I have my three children, a 27-year-old and a 11-year-old and a 5-year-old. I have to balance it out. I actually even stopped working Monday to Wednesday just so that I can put in time for the products and I put in time for my family. Because for me, my family comes first over anything. You know I have to run my business so that we can eat and everything, but my children come first. I let them even play a role when I'm making my products. Come on, get up. You can come help me mix it. Come help me put the label on it. So when we talk about inspiring your daughter or your children, I make my children get up there and see what it takes to run a business. Come on, Surrey. This brand, Surrey Shea & Co, is named after you. So you need to help me. You're gonna come, you can do this, put the labels on for me. You can do it. Even my little 4-year-old, I had him do it. Mommy, let me help. So I just let them help, and it teaches them the way.
All right, welcome back to the big show. She's Michaela and Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Michaela and Sherry, are you ready?
We're ready. Sherry's feeling up. She's ready.
Folks, you know how this works. If you get the answer before them, you win a prize. Here's today's, it's a who said it. So you're guessing the author of this famous quote, if you cannot find peace within yourself, you will never find it anywhere else. I'm going to give you the first hint. It's a musician.
Male or female?
What did you say, Michaela?
Bob Marley.
You need a second hint?
He just wanted you to repeat it so he could push that button.
You need a second hint?
So tacky.
Sure, yes. We'll take another hint.
They need a second hint, folks. They need a second hint. This artist started with the Moon Glows before going solo.
The Moon Glows?
What the heck is the Moon Glows?
What kind of 1960s stuff you're talking about, Jamal, that you had no clue about the music either?
I don't? Okay, cool. Do you need a third hint? Because
sure.
Third hint's your third strike, right?
Okay, fine.
Was shot by his father.
Oh, Marvin Gaye.
Got it before you.
Yeah, I was about to say Marvin Gaye.
They got it before I gave the hints. Marvin Gaye, right. Emily Gale deal. It is on you. You got it. So you did beat Michaela, and she is 0 for 1 this. I shouldn't be that excited. I'm sorry.
Wow, that was very aggressive.
I shouldn't be that excited.
It was, and I didn't know Marvin Gaye was with another group, so that didn't come.
Before he went, but
I didn't know that either.
Deal, actually, David Michael Wilson actually got it as well.
Wow, I mean, it makes sense that he would say something like that.
It's actually a very superb quote. It really is. And folks, if you didn't hear it, it's if you cannot find peace within yourself, you will never find it anywhere else. And that pretty much goes to the conversation about the commissioner of police. If you can't find it, like, it's within us. Like, the answers to us are within us. Like, seriously.
Listen. I love that you say that. I just reread The Alchemist last week, and that's what the whole book is about. Everything you need is within you. You just need to sit still long enough for it to come out, for you to receive the answers.
That's a good book. Like, seriously, I haven't read it since I was in graduate school, but I might have dust my name and read it again too. Let's wrap it up, folks. If you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Sherry, final thoughts on today's program.
Awesome discussion. Glad I was here for this Monday discussion. Music, it's your personal choice. You know what you're listening to and who the people you're dealing with. And as far as when it comes to the commissioner, choose a person that is qualified. I will say the word, that is qualified. And if they are Bermudian, hey, let's go for it.
What you got for us, Kales?
I'm just it's just conflicting because, like, I love Jackie I love his old music so much, but I need to separate the man from the music. The man who is a violent criminal. I don't care if he was rehabilitated, he's still a violent criminal. And yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. As far as the commissioner, like, if we have someone who can do the job, why not? And do the job well, why not? Because anyone who needs to come and do the job needs to do it well. So yeah, if we've got that person, let's go.
Yeah, I'll say this. When it comes to music and who we choose to support, so many of the people that we grew up listening to, movies, watching, television shows, everything, they're humans. And human beings do human things. It's not to say that all humans do bad things, but we actually need to stop putting people on pedestals and acting as if these folks are some superhero gods that just do no wrong. So we have to really understand what it is and who it is we're supporting. As far as the commissioner of police, I'll just say, as I've said over the last 5 minutes, if not now, when will we start believing in giving ourselves a chance? Kales, you've got some daily inspiration for us?
I do. Focus on what matters. Everything else is just noise.
I like that. Focus on what matters. Well, on that note, thanks again to our partners, Medical Wellness One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. Folks, Juggling Jay returns on BCG Radio today. Make sure you check them out at 12 o'clock. Download the app if you haven't already. Juggling Jay is back. It's Reggae Mondays. She's Michaela Ian, Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, please do make it a great day.